the qualities of a good citizen are really important for students to learn because it is what helps them become good students and just good citizens in general in the world. And we want to raise good citizens. So the students will come in, they'll answer their morning question. What does it mean to be a good citizen? They'll have a few minutes to write this in their journal. When the timer goes off, it'll let students share their answers. I would like to get enough people where I hear 2 to 3 answers of what we'll talk about. It's really important that we set those standards of like, I want to hear 2 to 3 of these answers, etc. And that shouldn't take but a few minutes. I mean, they'll come in and unpack, but and we'll move on to our brain pop, which goes over the rights and responsibilities of a good citizen, and we'll do the easy quiz on the board, which will let students go up and touch the board and interact with the technology. And we'll go over what do you think our school and community would be like if people were not good citizens? I think that's a really important seed question because it gets us thinking about what it would be like if we didn't have good citizens in our community. And I think it gives them a little bit of responsibility to be a good citizen. And then we will rotate through 5 stations. Their groups will already be lined out. It'll most likely be their table. And in station 1, we'll go over rules and laws. And they'll write down 2 rules or laws and why they are necessary. They might use the rules that we will have posted in the classroom. I know most classrooms have classroom rules, and they're usually just being respectful and stuff like that, but they can use those and they can write why it's necessary. I think that's important for them to understand why we have those rules, not just because we're trying to, make them, we're not just saying no, it's for a reason. I think it's good for them to understand that reasoning. And for station 2, they will design a flag for our classroom. They need to be able to tell why they designed it that way. I don't want them to just kind of color it because that's what they want. I want them to have meaning behind it. I added some symbols and what they mean. And I've given some example flags, but I want them to be able to tell, okay, our classroom is loving, so I put this, or our classroom is knowledgeable, so I put this, something along those lines. But I wanted them to have these examples to kind of work off of, and I would want even more examples for them to choose from on the flags. Okay, and then station 3 will be our voting, which is probably my favorite. It's about this time of year, and when we're going over this lesson, that they get to, I would like to have a class pet. And they would get to circle which class pet they would like and vote. And then they'll get to write on their worksheet why it is important to vote. And I'll have a handout, which I can show in a minute, hopefully with the screen sharing, that they'll be able to write some of their answers on. Some they'll do in the station, but they will have a sheet they can carry around with them also. And station 4. Station 4, this is one of the more challenging ones because I feel like taxes are kind of hard for most people to understand, but I feel like it's important to introduce it in 3rd grade. And in our third grade classrooms at my school, we do introduce taxes. So I'd like them to try to define taxes in their own way. And they'll have multiple definitions of it that they can choose from. And they'll have multiple definitions of these subcategories that they can choose from. But I want them to define taxes and one of the subcategories on their own. And we would kind of talk more about that. We would discuss taxes more and less of them trying to write down an explanation. I want them to just kind of try to define it. And we would go more over why taxes are essential to our community later on in a discussion more of. But I would want them to have that question posted so they can begin to think about it and try to understand. Station 5 is probably one of my favorites because students are drawing a picture of why they can, of a way they can help the environment. And this is something I would like to actually do one day at maybe right before our recess time. We would go out on the playground and pick up trash or something like that. Teach them how to help our community and how to be a member of that community. And just a way to help the environment, because that's important for students to understand. And I would like each seed question to be posted for each station. I want them to be able to think about it, and we can discuss it as a class, either after the lesson, if time allows, or another day, even the next day. For the rules and responsibility, what if they did not obey rules and respect one another? What if nobody obeyed laws? Things like that. Station 2 would be the patriotism. Why are you proud to be American or a student in this class? I want them to understand what those flags symbolize. So if our classroom is loving, they can be proud of that. Or if as an American, they can be proud to be an American, things like that. And station 3 would be voting. Why is it important to vote? That's one they should write on their worksheet. And I think that's a pretty simple seed question, but I think it's always good to go over why with students. And then station 4, why are taxes essential to our communities? That one would be more of a conversation we would have as a class, because that one's more challenging. And station 5 would be, do you think you have power to make a positive difference in your community? And that's one I would like to try to have real world examples for our students to so they can be proud of their impact on the community. And last is misconceptions. And I think I really wanted those on the PowerPoint for just to help the students that are having trouble with these understandings, because these are hard concepts. And I think with them being in stations, it will help me be able to reach out to maybe some of my lower groups and be able to help them with their understanding. And with them also being in stations and me going through and working with those groups, it'll also cut down on any behavior problems we might have in our class. And yeah, so that's a little bit of the lesson. Let's see if I can show my worksheet. Here it is. Okay, so this is the worksheet that they would carry throughout the stations with them. Some, like the flag, they'll do in their station. There will be paper for them there. But the rules and laws they can write here. What is something else we could vote on as a class? And why is voting important? That's one of our seed questions I want them to write on the paper. They can define taxes, and then they'll pick a subcategory and they can write the subcategory right here and then define it. And then they can draw their picture of the environment and write a little bit of an explanation about that here. Some students I would have to differentiate this for, especially the ones that are ESL students that might not be able to write yet or things like that. So that would change a little bit, but yeah, and that is all. Thank you.